The U.S. speed skating team trying to make sense out of why its heavily favored skaters are finishing so poorly in the games. And the suspect is emerging, the high-tech racing suits made by Under Armour. It's Friday, February 14th, Valentine's Day. Welcome to Lunch Break. I'm Lee Hawkins. WSJ editor Josh Robinson has been covering the speculation that Under Armour suits are slowing down U.S. speed skaters. He joins us live from Sochi. Which races, Josh, started raising these questions?
Well, the U.S. had heavy favorites for the gold in the men's and women's 1,000 meters. We're talking here about Shani Davis and Heather Richardson, and neither of them could finish above 7th, and they were quite a margin off the podium as well. So when people like that, who have dominated the World Cup circuit all season, suddenly falter, it raises some questions.
And as someone who covers the sport, do you think this is really possible?
Well, you know, the suit has a couple of components. One is obviously the marginal gains that you may or may not get from skating fast and having an aerodynamic suit. But there's also the psychology of it. You know, if you're in a suit that suddenly you begin to doubt and think, well, you know, this might not be helping me the most it could, then that creeps in, and if you think you're going to perform badly, you probably will.
Under Armour is one of the biggest sports sponsors out there. Their senior vice president of innovation tells the WSJ that they're confident that the suits are fast, but they'll move heaven and earth to make them better. What is the potential impact on their brand as a company?
So companies like Under Armour get involved with the Olympics and these highly technical sports like speed skating, not to then go on and sell speed skating suits, but really to establish a kind of credibility in high performance. Especially here, they've partnered with Lockheed Martin to develop this suit. And so if suddenly, when they promise this is the fastest speed skating suit ever made, it turns out to actually be having a neutral effect or even hindering skaters, then this could potentially dent their credibility, and that comes with the knock-on effects down the road.
And a layman would look at this and say, well, hey, if LeBron loses the finals, can he blame his shoes? But maybe that's just too simple. Can a suit really make that big of a difference? Can you explain in even more terms how that's possible?
Well, LeBron can try to blame his sneakers, but really what we've got here is the suit is such a big part. You know, the suits are not made to be comfortable. They're made to sort of help you into the optimal speed skating position and stay low. But if you feel like you're fighting the suit, suddenly you're wasting physical energy and mental energy trying to get yourself around the lap. And a psychological thing like that in the back of an elite athlete's mind is going to have an effect. We can't know how much, but it's certainly there.
And you think there's a psychological effect, of course, but if a suit creates that much of an advantage, why isn't it illegal to have a suit like this?
Well, we're not talking about massive advantages. If I put on the suit, I'm not suddenly going to be a world champion speed skater. But we're talking about hundredths and very small fractions of a second. But these are sports of tiny marginal gains.
Okay. Well, thanks so much, Joshua Robinson. I know you'll continue to cover that story and keep us posted. Thank you very much.